Hey all, Tony Bing here, hello and welcome back to another news update video for Marvel Strike Force. Now this specific video will be centred around an absolute ton of information we've managed to get via data mine. Now the actual players that have found this are Taijai, Tona and Maeve the Great. So as always, props to these guys for putting in the work to actually dig out this information for us. Now there's a ton to cover. I'll quickly give you a summary and then I'll run through it all. So we'll be talking about character milestones that are coming to the game. We're talking about Loki availability, which is one I imagine quite a lot of people will be interested about. We've also got some information on a Mantis Orb that's coming, new traits coming to the game potentially, a Red Star event, the subscription service, raid changes and new events as well. So as I mentioned, an absolute ton. Now I'll say as always, because it is coming via data mine, it is subject to change, but if you've watched previous news videos, the data mines are normally exceptionally accurate. There's odd thing that changes here and there, but by and large most of this does come to the game unchanged. So let's see what we've got to check out first. First bit of information that we've got here is in regards to some upcoming milestones. So it's the introducing Carnage and introducing Mantis milestones. These started with Green Goblin, or they maybe even start with Miles Morales actually, and they're a good way to build up gold when you level up and purchase a new character, or you level them up through their event, and it actually gives you a decent amount of tier 3 materials as well. So we'll be getting them for Carnage and Mantis, and I imagine they will become the standard going forward for new character releases. We then have some info on the availability of Loki. Now it's been rumoured for quite some time he would go to the Blitz store. I was really hoping that would happen because I've got 100,000 Blitz credits actually saved up, but it looks like instead he'll be going to Mystic 3.6, so that is quite far on. It's a pretty difficult campaign, so if we find that when he comes to this particular node, if he in fact does, anyone's having trouble with it, I'll certainly do a video of how you can freestyle it to get farming him. So it's Mystic 3.6. It does mention that as a result of Loki's addition to this campaign mode, Hand Sentry, who's normally in this mode, has been moved to Cosmic 3.6. Hand Sentry's an awesome character, so that'll make him easier to farm. And Kree Cyborg has been moved to Cosmic 2.3. And then Hydra Armoured Guard is now available in the Arena store for 400 credits as well there. You won't really want to farm him though unless we in time maybe get a Red Skull Legendary event or something like that where you're required to have Hydra characters. Other than that, I wouldn't really bother with them. So let's see what we've got next. So next up here, we don't have the most extensive of actual write-ups in regards to what's been found, but there's actually quite a lot that we can take from it. Firstly, you've got potential new tags coming to the game, which are Military and Stark. So that would be, of course, for the likes of Iron Man and War Machine. War Machine would actually have both of them. I imagine it's a bit strange, the tags, I would say. They seem very specific, and I do hope in the back of my mind that we're not starting to see very niche tags, so they can then, as a result of this, make very niche teams that you have to run in raids down certain lanes. Like for example, having a lane you can only run Stark characters down. That'd be an absolute nightmare. I hope they're not going to do that at all, but only time will tell. Now also we have information on the Guardian Empath Orb. So went up to 180 Mantis Shards, Guardian's Empath Orb fragments. So this would indicate that the release of Mantis will just be the same as War Machine. She'll come out, you'll have the actual pack that you can buy. It's normally around about £24 or so on to actually unlock her, and then from there, because there are actual orbs for her, I would imagine we'll probably get a campaign as well. So I can't say 100% we'll get a campaign, but it looks like we'll almost certainly get a pack with some shards in it, so we can get it unlocked nice and early and I can get some videos done for her as well. Next up we have an event called Share the Love. So this is an Alliance donation event. Now with this it says to celebrate the Lunar New Year, Red Star Orb fragments will be added into Alliance donation boxes starting February the 4th, and work with your Alliance to earn Red Star Orbs every day. Now as you know, when you actually make your donations, you can make them for 10,000 gold or 2 different sets of power cores. I can't think of the amounts offhand, but they are quite a lot to be honest, so I'm hoping that you'll be able to get some orb fragments even if you only donate the gold, because that is what most of the players in the game will actually be doing here, so fingers crossed for this one. Next up we have some information on something that's come up quite a few times now, in the data mine. It came up running about the same time as Red Stars launched, and I actually said at the time of that I thought a subscription service was a terrible thing to bring in because player sentiment really wasn't good at all. It wasn't the time to be asking players to actually sign up and give them money each month on an automated basis at all. Things have got a little bit better. Red Stars are still there and they haven't changed, unfortunately, but there have been some positive changes in the last month or two. So subscriptions have arrived. Increase your daily energy, and then it says, Commander, build up your roster by signing up for a premium energy boost, offering 120 extra campaign energy per day, so that's worth the equivalent of 50 power cores, or once you've spent your 4 refreshes, I suppose it would essentially be 100 power cores. Also mentions for a limited time your first month is free, along with 100 shards of 4, which seems a bit random, to be honest. It would be nice to maybe pick a set amount of shards for a character, and then sign up for your premium energy subscription in the daily rewards tab in the inbox. The next potential change we have here is in relation to raids. It's one I'm really not too happy about, but I suppose not all the information we find we are going to be happy about, and again it could be subject to change this. So with the way it's actually looking at the moment, you've got your beta raid changes. It looks like the overall power of a lot of nodes in that will be jumping up by around about a third. When it comes to the gamma raid changes, for Gamma 2, which is the easier one, they're making that easier again, and the power's dropping down by round about a third. And then finally for Gamma 3 and Gamma 4, the power's jumping up a fair bit there. You can see in Gamma 4, for example, H16 node would go from 689,000 power to over 1 million, which is a huge jump there. Now, as mentioned, not too happy with that. The reason being that it looks like any gains we're making through Red Stars that would make the game a little bit easier to farm and quicker to farm will just be negated if they keep increasing power in this way. So fingers crossed this is something that doesn't actually go live, but at the moment it is shown in the data mine. We then have some information on an upcoming event, and this is always good because it's new ways to get materials. So this particular one, as it's looking at the moment, it would require Ant-Man, Wasp, Rocket Raccoon and Groot at 5 stars plus. I think I got all of them at 7 star apart from Wasp is only at 6 star. It's recommended for level 60 plus, gear tier 9, level 5 abilities, and it states Rocket and Groot must work with Ant-Man and Wasp to escape from Tiny World and corrupted villains seeking revenge, and it's called Tiny Showdown, so hopefully we'll get some nice rewards from that. Next up we have another event here, so this one here I'll just quickly read out the description. So Rocket convinced Groot to help him acquire a stockpile of unique, magical and high-tech items from corrupted heroes and villains as a gift for someone very special. Since only Rocket and Groot are equipped to go on this mission, they must be as strong as they can be. So eligible heroes are just Rocket and Groot, and I've got both of them at 7 stars, so yes, I'm very happy with that. And you can see the different tiers for this one as well. So even if you've only got them at 3 star, you can still do tier 1 and 2, but if you've got them at 7 star, then you can go all the way up to tier 7 there. And generally with events like this, you'll get your orange materials, your tier 4 materials locked behind this, so fingers crossed that'll be the case. Now lastly, we've got some information on some actual buffs and changes to characters. So we've got quite a few changes here then now. Some of these I believe are live and some of them may be going live at a later date. The first one's in regards to Wolverine, and it's about his healing factor. So on death you have a 5% chance to revive with 20% of the character's max health. If at least one ally is X-Men, you gain an additional 5% chance to revive. So it's not clear the way this is worded if it will cap out at 10%, or if you run with a full team of another 4 X-Men characters it would actually cap out at 25%. That would be pretty awesome, and that's what Wolverine really should have. He's the character that he doesn't stay down. Now the next bit of information is something that looked bad, but it's been clarified that this isn't really relevant and this change won't happen. It was in regards to Star-Lord, and it says buffs no longer target additional allies, they target adjacent allies. So this was sounding like it was going to mess about with his energy gain and his special, but thankfully that's not the case, so don't worry about this here. We then have Ravager Stitcher. This is a nice change. Buffs no longer target the lowest health ally, they instead target the most injured ally, and they've actually done some smart healing changes when we look at Mancy's kit as well, so it's good to see that there. We've got Gamora and Drax. This is all to do with their chain, how it actually hits more characters, and that is live in game. You'll notice something here that's a real bummer. Is at the moment it's stating for Carnage unlocks at 3 stars, which would mean rather than, I think it's 45 or 55 shards to unlock him, it's going to take a whopping 100 shards to unlock him. As far as we know, he's also locked behind the premium orbs, so you're going to have to get exceptionally lucky to unlock him there, or if he comes out as a pack, because he's a 3-star unlock, the chances are the pack will be one of the higher $50 ones. So that's a real bummer. Hope it's not the case, but as a standing at the moment by the data mine, it looks like he may be a 3-star unlock, so keep saving up your premium orbs. Just to finish up here then, some information on Rocket Raccoon, and this was touched on in the developer blog. His special pretty good plan doesn't always get an assist from a random ally. It has a 70% chance, but Groot still always assists on this. The tooltip and this was wrong. It suggested that it had a 100% chance before, but it actually didn't. But it now has a 70% chance. And then finally with Juggernaut, they've increased his resistance. I don't know how the math works out from the figures here, but they have increased it to make it a lot harder to actually dispel him with the likes of Doctor Strange, or to steal or copy his buffs from the likes of Black Widow there, so that should make him a lot better and a lot more formidable. But that's all the news. As mentioned, an absolute ton to run through there. Vast majority of it was positive, 1 or 2 little things that I'm not massively sold on, but we're not going to be happy about absolutely everything. We've got to take what we can get here. So let me know in the comments below what you think of all this information that we've managed to get hold of, and once again thanks to Tie-Dye, Tona and Maeve the Great for digging all this out, and thanks to all of yous for tuning in, and I'll see you all again soon.